Saw one of the class tonight. Professor Swanee. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, Chip, and everyone. I'm on the driving home from the airport, so sorry. Flight was about an hour and a half late.
You're all right, Richie.
So like Richie.
We're gonna put you on mute though.
Thank God.
That was actually that's literally what just went through my head. I'm like,
Well, I'll say it, you can't. I've got that good filter, Ryan.
good. I like that.
I heard that, Ryan.
Love you, Tuck Rule.
So Ryan, can you turn your laptop?
You might be sitting the wrong person. You don't want that.
All right, we are going to go ahead and get our 2023 annual board meeting underway. So I'm going to turn it over to Chip to get us started.
Can you hear me? Oh, wow. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. This is our annual meeting that's required by the bylaws, and it's also a great way to keep interested members updated. And we also will be announcing the winners of the Board of Director vote that you recently completed. So thank you for being here. Some ground rules about tonight. We've got folks on Zoom, and we're going to try to do our best to give them a good audio experience. This is also being recorded so that people who are not able to attend can watch it later. What's that TV commercial where they throw the red flag and they do the play? Get a chance to see what was really said instead of arguing about it. No, seriously, we've got a lot of information to go through. We're going to try to go through it quickly. And so because of that, I'm going to ask that you hold your questions until the end. I'm happy to answer any questions once we're done with the main part of the meeting. We're going to go through the presentations from the officers and the committees first, and then we're going to go into our regular board business like we would do at any board meeting, so you can see, how uneventful and non-dramatic it actually is. And then we'll adjourn, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Does that seem like a good plan to everybody? Yeah, great. So I'm Chip Doyle, and this is my second and last year on the board. And second year and last year as president, and third year as director. As you all know, we have 3-year terms. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about, besides me, who else is terming out. Also, too, for the directors, we've got a revised membership motion that's on a piece of paper in front of you. So you might want to familiarize yourself with that revised motion so that when it comes time for us to put that on the consent agenda, there won't be any need for questions or discussion. Okay. Ryan, you want to talk about slide 3?
Absolutely. So thank you all for coming. For those of you that are here.
Yeah. Meeting's called to order.
Yeah, that's right.
6:02.
It has been an amazing year. First off, I need to thank my team. I know that's the last one on here, but I'll probably say it 4 or 5 more times as I'm talking. The team has really wrapped their arms around some of the plans and things that we put into place here at the club to get us back on an operating fiscal perspective. And you'll hear a little bit of that from the finance committee. One of our big incentives this year was our survey. So many of you should have already received at least one. We're probably getting close to the second time around. The Club IQ survey. So right now our net promoter score is 51%, which is great, which is up a little bit from last year. I'd really like to see that between 60 and 70, as Bill was here yesterday, with everything we've done here at the club, with our golf course, with how things are being maintained out there, with what we've done from a food and beverage turnaround. We really should be facility of the year with Trim. And one of those things is to get between over 65 to 70% NPS. So very big thing for us as a club. So I told him to put us up anyway, so we'll see if that happens. 63% of our members have scored a 9 or 10. Our member experience, so as you're answering those other questions through there, is an average of 79.3. The industry average through here is about 75%, so we're actually ahead of where we should be. And our golf course is actually rated just above 80%. So thank you, Stephen and team, for everything that they're doing out there. Obviously, we're a golf club, that is our focus, and that team has done a great job. We review these comments daily. I actually giggle all the time because that is literally, now you all are going to know what I do first thing when I wake up in the morning. I literally wake up, I put my glasses on, and I read the comments. Whether that's good for my health or not, I'm not quite sure yet. But that is literally the first thing that I do every single day when I get up. Noreen and I look at those, and then we distribute those to the team. So on a weekly basis, the board gets all of those comments that come in, as well as my team when we do our weekly reports on Friday. So something that we take near and dear, and hopefully you're going to see some of those changes, whether it's we hear a lot from food beverage service, we hear a lot from green speech, we hear a lot from making clubhouse improvements, all of those things are in the mix. So thank you for the feedback, keep that coming, but just remember 9 and 10s are really good on that scorecard. Course conditions, you're going to hear a little bit about how much less water we used. Sorry, Debbie, but we used about 30% less water this year than we have in years past. So Stephen and the team have done a lot of, you're going to see them out hand water, you're going to see those little sprinklers. All of those are to help with overall fairway conditions, wet conditions, from what we hear all the time. So great job, Stephen. Food and beverage and special events, so I get to do that slide, so I'll do a little bit of it right now. All of the events that we've done out on the terrace, the music events, we hear you, and that's what we're trying to do. We average about 50 members for each one of those events that we've done out on the terrace. That's a huge change from historical. So very proud of the food and beverage team of putting all those together. It's not that easy to go out and find music people that want to come play for 3 or 4 hours, unless it's Chip. Then we're in good shape. But again, I can't thank my team enough for everything that they've done this year. And hopefully you all feel the same, especially once we get through some of the physical numbers. And I will turn this back over to Chip.
So, first of all, I want to thank what we call our executive committee. These are the officers of the club, and Don Stanners is to my right. He's our vice president. Adam Fair is not here. He's our treasurer, and Mike Tuliatis is to my left, and he is your club secretary. And these guys put in a lot of hours, and they really deserve your appreciation because they are committed to this club. And they made my job a lot easier. In fact, they really do have my back. I don't make very many decisions by myself because I'm usually asking them first what they think we should do. And 4 brains, and sometimes 9 brains are better than 1. So it's worked out well, and I want to thank all of them. It's made my time as president much more rewarding as a result. And I want to call your attention to Dan Worthington, who's unfortunately not here. His son is getting married tomorrow, so he is attending a rehearsal dinner, which is a perfectly good reason to not be here. And he has been tireless in his efforts here, and the reason his name is underlined is because along with me and Steve Swanson, we are turning out at the end of this year, and it's been a heck of a ride. And maybe you can talk a little bit more, Steve, when it's your turn. But these folks have really worked hard, and I've gotten to know them like brothers, and it's been a very rewarding experience for me personally. And then, of course, we have Debbie Pellegrini, our only female on the board, unfortunately. I'd love to see more females and participate, and I think I might have some good news for you before I was good. Debbie has jumped onto the board and just literally running. I've been amazed at how quickly she's jumped into important assignments. Dr. Hood, one of the smartest guys I know, where's Dr. Hood? Right here, and does a great job. I'm really glad to have that kind of support and brain power. And then finally, John Walls, not only is extremely smart, but he's got incredible experience with the board and brings a lot of perspective why things are the way they are, and how do we, learn from history. It's been amazing. He's pulling up motions from 2014. It's super helpful, things that we would never have been able to do. So we've got a really powerful, functional board. And I think you should all sleep well at night knowing that the board is really looking out for your constituents. They really are. So with that, I would like to announce the winners of the new directors from 2024 to 2026, and they are in alphabetical order. Richie Adams, who's driving here on Zoom right now in his car, and Dan O'Malley. Dan, you can stand up. I saw you over there a second ago. Welcome, Dan. Fantastic. Now, it really is a big deal. I think it's incredible that we have a very balanced club. We have a lot of female golfers. It pains me that we don't have more female representation on the board. So I'm glad that it's starting to change. So we're going to talk a lot about some operational and strategic things related. But I wanted to just step back and look and talk about things at a 1,000-foot view for just a minute, because that's mostly what I'm concerned with in my role as president. And one of the things that we've done for the board and the meetings that have really turned things around is that we all have mutual respect and appreciation for the other directors. It doesn't mean we always agree. In fact, we don't always agree. But we have mutual respect for others' opinions. We don't have any personal infighting. We're friends. Any one of us can call any one of us at any time, and we often do. We've got a very familial and constructive relationship, and I think that's made a huge difference to the constructive functionality of the board. One of the things that we adopted was that when we do evaluate proposals or motions, we don't just throw them on the agenda and see what shakes out. We actually have a vetting process to determine if these proposals are likely to be accepted by the board. And if it's clear that they're not, then we don't need to put it on the agenda. That saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of frustration, because nobody wants to have a debate about a motion that was never going to be approved. And that, I'm saying that publicly. I want the communities to realize that don't just throw stuff at the board, get a sense of whether it will be accepted beforehand, because it won't go on the agenda if we don't have a sense that there's at least an 80% chance. And again, I should tell you, we don't always vote 100% in favor of some of these motions. Sometimes there are dissenters, but we respect those people's opinions. We make our vote, and then the management has been incredibly responsive. I know, because I worked with previous management before. I worked with a different head pro before. And we are in much better shape, and it makes my job and the board's job a lot more enjoyable and rewarding when your requests are actually responded to and taken action. And I'm very happy. I want to just address the question right now about what is true is worth the amount of money that we pay them. First of all, they help out immensely on purchases. They have a lot of purchasing power, and they are able to acquire materials for us, fertilizer and so forth, at a price that we would never be able to get ourselves. They have incredible agronomic experience. Stephen Spatafor is a fine superintendent, doing a great job, but I don't care how smart you are, he's got a number of experts in the United States that he can speak to give him ideas and counseling and mentoring. I mean, Ryan's a pretty good mentor because because of his background, but Stephen has many more mentors than just Ryan. And so we have incredible agronomic expertise. The recruiting, though, I mean, if any of you have ever hired a headhunter to try to find people, we don't pay any headhunter fees. True takes care of that for us. And that alone has been worth its weight in gold, more than offsetting. Forget about all the other things. People want to work at Troon. People actually are excited about career opportunities working for Troon, so we're able to attract new talent that we wouldn't otherwise be able to attract. I realize we're all sad about losing Mike Conley, but the reality is we're going to be losing people because we're hiring up-and-comers who are ambitious in their career, and they're going to want to get their experience here at Contra Costa and then get promoted and move on. And I suppose if that's what we have to live with in terms of our top staff and personnel, I'm okay with that. We'd like people to stay, but I understand that we've got up-and-comers that are ambitious. They're going to want to look for advancement. And if Contra Costa has the reputation of a place where you advance your career, I say that's what we need. Well, I'm very happy with it. And also, too, I got to tell you, Truly has been very reasonable with us in terms of fees, like they've listened to us. My interactions with Bill O'Brien have been uniquely positive. And I don't want to get into detail, but they are a team player and they're looking to build a relationship with us for years to come. They are not trying to just pinch a fee out of us for one. Okay, I want to be crystal clear. Our meetings typically, maybe not this one, but normally our board meetings are down to an hour. And that makes, in fact, I want all the committee meetings to be an hour or less. I think it can be done if we're intelligent and focus on the 8% proposals. It's a lot more pleasant for our volunteers and our chairs when these meetings don't take up a whole bunch of their family time. And I think that's made a huge difference. In fact, I'd like to think that some of the people that raised their hands for this director position this year did so because they see that the board and the committee experience is a lot more positive. It's also easy when our financial house is in order. We're making money. You're going to hear some fantastic news about how operationally we are running supporting this much better than last year. And it just makes everybody get along. And everything's a lot nicer when the money is, you don't have to worry about losing money. And I think in general, it's certainly been a rewarding experience for me, but I hope that Richie, Dan, have an equally rewarding experience. So with that, I will turn it over to Stephen.
Yeah.
Chip, I can thank you enough for everything you've done for support and everything that's involved with the board of family. Earlier to somebody else, it's kind of like a highly functioning family. This meeting all the time. It's a pleasure to be able to be involved in this group. And I mean, that's just really my final year when I came on, I was going to the golf committee as the liaison. And I got a lot of people who were wanting to go maybe sackcloth and ashes for me because the golf committee had a good reputation for having a really difficult time getting along and a lot of bloodletting, I could say. Between the work that Morgan and Peter Mankin has done, and then now Kevin Shen on Fidelity. So Kevin and Peter are co-chairs, and they're doing a great job, and the future is bright with them. And so with that, I'd like to thank you, the membership. I realize we have standing room only, but I want to thank you guys for giving us an opportunity to serve you and giving me an opportunity to serve you. And with that, we'll go to a quick slide on the golf committee members. What you'll see here is that the majority of the committee is actually made up of those who represent the associations, but we've also made a point to have folks on the committee that represent the membership at large. And the value there is that each one of the people that represents associations are there first and foremost to really represent the club and the overall membership, but they also have a skew, as they should, for their particular association. So we wanted to have some people who were just completely unbiased and just wanted to really be about the betterment of the club. And that's what Don Wiles and Thurston Stonewall are about. There. So the three subcommittees that operate under the umbrella of both committee or the Tournament Advisory Committee, which is really, that's a brainchild of the CHIP. And it's been excellent. It's brought a lot of value to the way that our tournaments are run. Things are tighter, they're getting done for the right reasons. It's allowing Stephen Spofford to be able to do the work that he needs to do when he needs to be able to accomplish it. And they've hit the ground running. The Junior Golf Subcommittee operated predominantly with Gary Brown as the head, has just been, in my view, a shining light. You'll see in just a moment what Gary has brought to us in terms of increasing the capacity for junior golf here and how much that's really a feather in our cap. And then now the newly formed handicap subcommittee, that's going to be exciting. Ryan has a new handicapping program that allows the ability to be able to unbiasedly recognize that people are kind of moving a little bit outside of where they should be at. So we applaud Ryan. He brought that in from another club that's already improved. So that's terrific. From there, the So then, as you guys are already familiar with Kevin Shen, Director of Construction at King, Mike Conley, who Chip mentioned earlier, who we are incredibly saying goodbye to, but we wish him all the best. It is really about growing people here in really wonderful ways. He's going to go on into a terrific career. And then our new first, what will be now our first assistant, Christian, and Robert Campbell, who has also been kind of like a favorite son here. Watched him grow up with us, and looking forward to seeing him continue to grow. And then our assistants and the guest services team you can see. And so some of the things that we have done in brief, we've expanded the member guest list, or access rather, to allow for greater ability to make tea times for members with their guests while still being mindful of wanting to ensure that we have adequate ability for our members to be able to play, to be able to make tea times. And we've also increased the ability for those who are on our social golf league. It's a pretty substantial lift to be able to get the benefit of playing more as they wait for their turn to be able to be a full proprietary member. Ryan brought in a new hole-in-one policy. The one that we had before was not doing well, and we now have one that keeps us even, keeps us even, which is really a good thing. It was losing money before. We have revised local rules that are now available on the website, as well as we'll have that on the golf cart eventually, and that's just to help keep things clear. We've expanded the junior merit programs, is what I was mentioning earlier, from what was 4 to now 10. We currently have 7 on that, and the value there is that we're mentoring and culturing young people who have a real passion for golf, and we're giving them an opportunity to be able to really explore that and grow in that, while helping our young kids, where we have all the junior camps, to be able to function at a higher level. The more people that we have to be able to help out with that, the better. And that increasing 4 to 7 made a huge difference this year. And then we also put in place a change in the merit status to allow young people who are still engaged in their golf team at their particular college, and but yet have not graduated, to continue to play here on the junior basis until they have graduated. Thanks for that. Yeah, and then I'll tell you that was initiated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll say that was initiated on behalf of John Scott Sands, and if you have not become familiar with this story, I'll be happy to send you the link. It's amazing, it's heartwarming, and that's why we exist as a club at Mike. We're about doing those kinds of things. You guys can see here now that we just have an sports rating that just came out, and it means that you get to look a little better on paper. The teams that you've been playing have now become even more difficult.
Your
So,
handicaps are going to come down.
and we're going to keep that,
The NCGA is evil.
but we have it going. And that will go into effect January. Thanks. And so, some of the things that we have coming up in front of us. We've actually already finalized the 2024 golf calendar, the golf schedule. Again, TAC is really integral in that, and that's part of what the golf committee works with Kevin on and put it together for each year. The new course rating that I just mentioned, and we will eventually have a reallocating of each one of the whole handicaps, and that'll be based on empirical evidence. It will not just be, well, we think that hole's hard. It's going to be based on some really comprehensive feedback and information that Kevin will work with the committee on. We continue to do the evaluation on the switching of the banks. You've probably seen or heard some of that. We aren't making a decision on it yet because we're trying to be really careful that we don't take off too many people if we do decide to do that. I have my own personal opinion, but we'll keep that to myself. We are currently, we have 73 members on the waiting list for golf cart storage, and as a result, we're going to be doing additional shelving in the storage area. And Kevin's done a terrific job to enhance the member experience in the golf shop. He continues to work with our retail specialist, with Trim, to make that area more conducive to sales, as well as just for browsing around, and please feel free to shop at any time. And from there, we have the planning for a 2024 year of player development, Nickelstore Junior program, as well as for some of the player development work that we're going to be doing, incorporating with the new work with the range. And we'll continue to offer expanded junior programs, program offerings, and camps. With that, I'll turn it back over to Chip. I appreciate your patience through doing the report.
Folks, also too, I want to recognize Debbie Reed, because Debbie's also a co-liaison for the golf committee. And I got to tell you guys, this is just a Cinderella story. These folks are pumping out work. They're getting things done before deadlines. They're organized. I want to thank the entire committee, chairs, the liaisons, and definitely Kevin. You guys I'm just so impressed. It's made my life so much easier. Please, after I'm off the board, keep up the good work, because it's really awesome. So with that, I will turn it over to Ron.
Julia.
Oh, Julia, sorry, I guess. Mike is not only secretary, he's also the chair of the finance committee. So the guy is amazing. Thanks, Chip. I'm going to steal your computer a little bit just to read through these. But short story here is it's a lot easier to talk to all of you this year than it was last year. We've had a very successful year. Kick it off by thanking the finance committee members who are Rita, who's here tonight, and we also have Tom Gard and James Vanderbeek who help Adam and I on the finance committee. But a couple highlights here. We had a lot of inflation that's occurred over the past 2 years, but we've done a really good job managing that. The budget that we established this year was made by each department head. That's created a sense of accountability for them. We've implemented new methods for each department head to monitor their payroll on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis, make sure we're not experiencing any unusual overtime. And that's really had one of the largest impacts on the year. It also didn't hurt that we used 30% of the water. Chip, can you go to the next slide? So we are in a very strong financial position as we sit here today. We have a healthy balance sheet with $3 million of cash, and that's an increase of $460,000 from last year. We have a wait list of 32 members, all of which who have guaranteed deposits to join the club. We have a low amount of debt as we stand today. We have a great relationship with our bank. The cash that we're holding is actually earning more interest than what we're paying on the course renovation note. So we are interest income rather than interest expense compared to the last several years. And that relationship was established around April of this year. So there still might be some interest expense from Q1, but we are net interest neutral for the rest of the foreseeable future until interest rates decline. I thought we had a slide where we talked about where we were.
Yeah, we missed the first one.
Okay, so this is the good news for everyone. As I sat here last year, we were looking at a budget shortfall of $300,000. Right now, we have a budget surplus of $200,000. We've switched from a net loss, net operating income for 2022 to $231,000 to net operating income of $261,000. That's a $500,000 turnaround from what we said at this point last year. That's partially driven by additional revenue, $300,000, $100,000 of that's from food and beverage, and then really cost control, which has been Ryan's absolute expertise since he joined here. I will say that net gain, we lost $231,000 last year, which no one was assessed to sort of make up capital dues. So as a finance committee, we generally view that as replenishing the funds that we took from our capital budget last year to replenish them back into the capital budget going forward. But we're also looking at opportunities to spend some of the operating surplus to address comments that are coming in on the weekly surveys. So again, those are not being ignored. The finance committee is looking at them, creative ways to use our surplus this year in a fiscally responsible way.
Good job, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, great job. And it's taken a village of leaders. Everybody has helped. And it's been a really spectacular camp.
And I'd like to thank Andy for all the work that he does kind of back in the house. He doesn't get that face time that many of us get, but trust me, he pushes a lot of numbers for us all the time. So thank you, Eddie.
You Eddie?
Thank you, Eddie. Yeah. Good job.
All right, well, I get to do Centennial Committee, so,
No, I'll do some things. Oh, you're gonna.
so, got it. Sorry.
So, and by the way, on those Club IQ comments, we get a report weekly from Ryan on your survey response. So we see, in fact, I'm gonna mention this in the president's message for November. You know, we'll see one comment that says, oh, we hate the grill, it's terrible, it's slow, the food's awful. And then the next comment is, the grill is fantastic, and we make a special effort to come out every da. So there's a lot of comments, and sometimes it's difficult to sort through the noise, but we are definitely all of the comments on this. So Centennial Committee, I'm very proud of the Centennial Committee because there's no precedent for them. This is the first time we've ever had a Centennial, so there was no rule book. And they kind of came in with a blank slate, and I really want to acknowledge Andrea Nagagaki and Pamela Thurston for a great leadership job. They've really tightened this up. They've got a real good, solid focus. And personally, as I've told them, I don't see them as a Centennial. I see them as almost like the history committee that's going to set this club into to being historically significant. You know, we're 100 years old. That's in the United States. That's pretty old for a golf course. That's not very old in Scotland, but it's pretty old here. And we need a clubhouse and a club environment that befits a 100-year-old club. And the Centennial Committee is the initiation that started that, and we're going to be proud of the history. And we've got some fantastic history that they're covering. We're doing some great interviews. We've got great photographs, memorabilia. Events that are planned. It's really exciting. So thank you, Andrea, Pamela, Sherry's zooming in right now. Dave Baker couldn't stay, but he was here just a few minutes ago, and he's a honorary member and has been around forever. He actually helped build this clubhouse. Mike Cox, my wife, Deborah, George Godfrey, Mike Hastings, and of course Ryan's been intimately involved in this. I called Canterbury, which is over 100-year-old outside of Cleveland, and this is some exciting stuff, and this committee is taking good advantage of that. So a couple of things. One, we're going to have a memory wall over there, right over there, which is going to permanently display history, architects. We've had at least three significant architects impact our property. We got members and stories and issues with water and land and permitting. We've got old, signs and logos, old press releases. Oh my God, they go back many years. How this club was founded from basically managers of a sugar company. We've been putting in quizzes.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to have a special logo. So everyone's going to want to make sure that they get some merchandise with that special logo because it won't be available forever. There's going to be a limited time that logo. We've got some major social events planned for 2025 with all kinds of exciting stuff. And then of course, both for couples as well as for families. So I think they're doing a good job of representing the interests of the entire membership and not just a select few. And then finally, some golfing events. And the dates, as you can see with the asterisk on there, that the black tie on January 25th coincides with the month of January when the Articles of Incorporation were signed for the club back in 1925. And then the May 3rd date coincides with when the first 7 holes were open. This, believe it or not, we didn't always have 18 holes. First we had 7, and I think we got to 9, and the routing has changed completely. I've learned a lot just listening in on the work that the committee's doing. So thank you, Centennial Committee. You're doing a great job. I feel very comfortable that we've got the right leadership, and they're gonna do the best they can, and it's the best for all of us. For the Centennial Committee. So that I'll turn it over to.
I'm going to play a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a game working since tonight. So That is possible. I definitely can't keep up with it. I tried once. So first off, I want to thank the Energy Board Liaison, John Saul is our chair, Danita, Michael, Nick, Cassandra, for all their hard work that they put into that committee this year. We made some drastic changes. I think it was last fall, we sat in that committee meeting and I said, okay, we're going to change the mentality of this committee. And I'd really like to change the name completely. I want to call it the Fun Committee. So, because really that's what I want their focus to be is on the fun, is the events, the music, the theme parties, all of those type of things, and they've really taken that on. And then obviously my team, Brett and Brian and Crystal and everything, the amount of time that y'all put into our calendaring and everything that this committee has kind of helped us get through. I can't obviously thank you all enough, and obviously member staff for making all of our ideas kind of come to fruition. So we conducted 6 events, live music. We averaged over 50 members in attendance. Those food and beverage sales averaged about a 40% increase from what we would normally have on those given nights. We administered an increase of 4 to 5 member events per month. We were lucky, I think, when I got here, from doing 1 in our focus. So we have basically 3 or 4 different tiers. We've got kind of a family, type tier. We've got a lower price tier. We've got kind of something in the middle, and then higher price. If you haven't seen your email today, make sure you look at it. We just announced the cake bread dinner for November 11th. And if you've not had cake bread and or bread pairing with wine, you need to come to that event because it is fantastic. Going into our wine, which we have too many plugs going. Friday night tomorrow night is going to be our wine event. So if you've not been to one of those yet, please swing by. But year to date, that's 243,000 compared to 208 prior year, generating about $35,000 in profit for the club. And the great thing is, it's a good thing for us, and it's a good thing for you, because you're getting wine way less than you'll be able to get it going anywhere else. And we kind of perfected this event thing, calendar, the apps, screen, and everything that she's done from her website perspective. All of that hard work, I know from my side doesn't go unseen, and I hear from you all too that it's nice to know what's coming up. So if you haven't been on the website, on the member side, make sure you go. If you haven't been on the app, make sure you check it out. And everything is basically laid out right on there for you. All right, I'm going to turn it now over to the membership committee.
Thank you. Thank you. The membership committee is your fifth round robin. We have special thanks to Lyle Tripp and John Solberg, our co-chairs, my brother Dan Whittington, board member, for being the co-liaison, and Kathy Ridgway, Stephanie Maroney, Bob Barter, David Laura, and David Hayes, and also obviously Noreen, for helping to keep us all together and focused. What's interesting when you look at this group of people is that they represent a diverse group in terms of their experiences, their age, and their gender. So it was a very inclusive discussions that we had this year, and we were able to accomplish a number of things. Foremost, we were able to change and modify the junior executive program. Prior to this, it was confusing. There were people that had different sort of agreements with the club, and so we standardized it. We also revised the application process to make it abundantly clear what people are signing up for. In terms of the financial, in terms of what their activities they could be involved in, and the financial commitments that they would be making. We modified the medical leave and leave of absence program to reflect the needs of the membership. Although fortunately we don't have a lot of that activity, clarified. So it was a year of really clarifying and setting the club up with a membership process, as well as the agreements that could live on for an extended period of time. Also during the process, the club or the committee recommended increasing the initiation fee from $42,500 to $50,000. Initiation fee recommendation came in collaboration with discussions with the finance committee as well as strategic planning, and reflects how we are positioned as a club within their competitive landscape. So we felt really comfortable recommending this increase, given what the offerings that we would be having created this next year or so, the practice facility, other programs that are coming online, and we still remain a mid-priced club within this competitive set. The committee was also very active in the meet and greet process. So after all of our meetings, we'd have prospective, applicants come in and meet some of the members of the membership committee and get a better feel for the club that they were joining. As of the end of the year, you can read this slide. Are you on that slide? Proprietary. We have 450 proprietary members, including 40 junior executives, 11 lifetime members, 89 social, 1 social lifetime, and we have a golf waiting list as of the end of September of 32. And that's been pretty consistent throughout the year. To date, membership trends, new golf wait list number adds of 22. We've had proprietary transfers of about 18. As you remember, previous discussions, we usually think we'll get about 25 per year. Looks like we're going to be basically on that trend. And membership sponsors of 30. So I just want to thank all the members of the committee and all of the other committees that we were able to collaborate with and as much accomplished this year.
Yeah, I really want to reiterate, the membership committee has got more done this year than I don't even know how many years combined. They are really cranking out projects, really important stuff, and that's due to John Solberg and Lyle Tripp and Dan Worthington and all the committee members, and of course our Vice President Don Sanders. These guys are really working hard. Noreen, thank you. This committee is rocking and rolling, and it's exciting for all of us, and it's helping clarify a lot of policies. And they've still got more to do, but they're really doing a good job. A committee that's always done a great job is the Green Committee, so I'll turn this over to Debbie.
Thank you. I think you can see from the slide that we have a very good Green Committee. I'm the board liaison. Dan Harrington is the chair, and you can see we have 7 members, very diverse in their backgrounds. A lot of them are very knowledgeable about just things that are associated with running the golf course. And I want to say that the meetings we've had and the discussions we've had have always just been very positive, and everybody's giving their opinion. Our staff, I think everyone knows Stephen, but we have 2 assistants. We have Johnny, and if you haven't met Cassidy yet, we now have a female assistant superintendent. And if you see her out there, please say hello to her. I also thought it was important to know that we have 20 additional associates. Some are part-time, some are full-time. Stephen added up the years of how many years our staff has been there, and it came to 255 years, of which Manuel has been here 53 years. Somebody has been here 37 years. We've been very lucky, and of course we are always having some new staff. So you can see we have a great staff. I'm going to go through our major accomplishments, and I think this is one Stephen's been really wanting to do, is to start taking 3 tees every year and resurface them. And so these are pictures of number 8 and number 14, and it's where they take out the grass, they make sure that the ground is all level, the ground is done correctly, resod it, and let it sit. Stephen's plan is to try and do 3 every year to make sure that you've got good tee boxes. The next accomplishment that I think all of you have seen when you go between 11 and 12 is for us to have a tee nursery. And you may say, why might we want to have a tee nursery? Well, part of it is you've all seen it, different spots on the green. On our tees that, parts kind of wear out and need to be replaced. Well, before you would have to buy quite a bit of the sod. The sod didn't come in at the right height. It comes in higher. This way, as parts of our tees get deteriorated, he can start making the replacement. And part of that picture that you can see is, when they went to dig it deep enough to really do a good nursery, he found a lot of rocks, and so he had to spend a lot of time doing, the rocks. The next slide that we have, and I think it's something most of us want, is we want to try as much as we can to have firm and fast freeze. And one of the things that Stephen started several years ago was really doing aeration. And we're now doing the aeration 3 times. And the one slide on the left shows you how deep those holes go. And he does the spring and the fall are larger holes, and then you notice in the summer when it was aerated, they were smaller holes so that they could be recovered quite a bit quicker. And the slide that's in the middle is showing how we have been able to decrease the organic matter. And as Stephen explained to me, organic matter is like sponge on the grain. And also that sponge doesn't let the water penetrate. And we are, as you can see, this is just over a 1-year period with doing the aerations that we've been able to lower it. And then the other thing, if you have been out in the morning and you have seen both either Cassidy and Johnny taking something that looks like a little pogo stick around on the greens, they are doing one day the odd holes and next the even holes, and it is all computerized, and they are able to see what our moisture content is. And part of this is the whole goal of being able to decrease our entire amount of water that we are using, which Ryan already mentions. That's the top slide, how much overall water that we're doing. And we are trying to make sure that we are using the appropriate water. Stephen pointed out that when you have a system that sprays water, you're getting about an 80% coverage. That's why you're starting to see a lot more hand watering and be able to really do the watering where we need to do it, but not be wasting water. Unfortunately, we've got clay soil. We have our warm temperatures in the summer, and the type of the cool grasses that we have, but we will still always have some wet spots, but he's working hard. Those 4 little pictures show where the pogo system has gone in and worked, and this is the 4 days before the DVC. And you can see the 4th slide over shows where we have green and a little bit of brown. So that's how you get your fast and firm greens. And some of the other accomplishments that have happened the last year, you notice there was a lot of black bark put back out around, particularly under the trees. You've seen our little mowers that are out there. We're still on a trial basis to see if they'll be a perfect thing for us. We've got additional sand and seed stations. There's a generator project going on. We have it for our maintenance facility, but it's very important that we get one for our pump station because I don't know where you live, but in 2018, I live in Orinda, lost my electricity for 4 full days. Well, if we had heat here and we lost our inability to be able to pump our water for 4 days, it would not be a good thing, and that we're getting a generator to be able to make sure that we can use that. And then I think we saw the new fencing that's around the cart area and pool. Our key projects is to continue to reduce our warm season grasses, lower our organic matters. What we see on the survey again and again, let's increase that firmness and the speed of our greens. And I think on my previous explanations is the things that are happening to do that. You'll see that we do keep that soil chemistry as good as we can. As I mentioned, Stephen's goal is, and the whole staff, we do 3 teas every single year so that it's like a 5 or 6 year rotation. The other thing of really looking at the drainage that is happening around our approaches to see if we can make sure that minimum water is going into the sand, also you don't have wet spots. And also when we redid our whole golf course, we did not replace the irrigation system. And it's coming up for a lot of clubs that it needs to be looked at. So we are going to have a full audit and a lifespan evaluation of it with the determination of are there things that we can continue to fix so that we don't end up with an expense of having to redo our entire system.
So, Dan O'Malley, Richie Adams, and Amy Rocha, this is a junior director who has jumped into this program head first and really has familiarized herself with a lot of technical details. And I'm just ecstatic. I mean, this is the kind of participation, this is the kind of directors that we have that really throw themselves into the understanding these kinds of things. And I really appreciate you did a great job. Thank you. Very excited about this committee. All right, Ryan.
Properties, facilities. So this is a committee, around COVID, kind of went by the wayside. It was one of those that just kind of got pushed aside. We couldn't do a whole lot. When I got here, a year and a half ago, it was, hey, man, we need to get this committee back up and going. So, Dr. Hood, who just came on, the board late this year, he's only had a couple of meetings, so that's why I'm going to take this one over. But John Solid, Mike, Ken, and Brandon have done a fantastic job with this group and kind of rethinking how we're going to do things going forward. So, a lot that this committee did this year. We had reactivating the committee being one, the solar project, which I'll get into as an update. Actually, I'll just right now. So the solar project is supposed to be completed at the end of the year. There's still some supply chain issues, so it looks like sometime in the first quarter that will be up and live. However, it's a very nice place to park your car. Car stays cool, stays clean, it's great, park down there every day. So at least we have some covered parking. That project was also not done by any funds from the club. So our program is we actually get a discounted fee about 40 to 50% less than what our electric fees will be when that goes live. So a couple of those things, had a meeting with them today, but it looks like we're probably going to hit sometime mid to late Q1 for that project to be complete. Numerous repairs we've done around the clubhouse. We mentioned the railings around the cart staging area, the redo of the pool fence when the tree fell on it. $65,000 in kitchen equipment for Chef and his team to make their line much easier to flow and get food moving out. All the new trash cans around the clubhouse, feel like the logos, super cool. Replacing the pool heater and lights. So both of those have been done this year. Landscape refresh, Carlos and Juan and all the work they've done around the club was touch-up painting, and then assistance and collaboration with the third-year capital plan. So as we talked about during the range project, that third-year capital plan has been kind of the lifeblood of how we're going to move forward with aspirational capital and obligatory capital. And this team has done very well looking at that 30-year list and what needs to be done. And then what we've done down in maintenance generators, I know that's also on the list. We just mentioned it. Generator 1 is in place. Generator 2, which is on the pump station, was on order, literally about ready to go on truck. And the federal government put a stop to it. They recalled all of the trailer-mounted generators. We have sourced 1, actually potentially sourced 2 as of this week. So hopefully here in the next 30 or 45 days, that will be the second one will be installed. 2024 projects, continue to look at kitchen updates, complete solar project. Our pool filters, it's that time. If you have a sand filter at your house, you need to do it about every 5 to 7 years. We're on about 10. So they will actually take all the sand out of all those filters. If you haven't seen that done, it's gross. Internal clubhouse updates. So that committee is looking at projects inside. We're looking at some art, looking at some potential upgrades within the clubhouse. An updated signage package, which we're working on, and then we all know that we probably need some asphalt work. So those are all on our dockets for 2024. And I will turn it over to Mr. Walls.
So, real quick, great job. Thank you, Ryan. Real quick, John probably doesn't remember this, but when I was first president, he called me up. He goes, what do you think about strategic planning? You know, and how do you feel about doing some work? I'm like, are you kidding? It's the most important committee. It's the hub of the wheel. Everybody's got to revolve around strategic planning. And holy cow, these guys have just lit it on fire. They have helped us in so many ways. The Range Project is just a small portion of the work that they've done. John is not only a director, but he's also the chair of the Strategic Planning Committee. So, John, please.
Thank you, Chip, and we can move to the next topic now. Our committee members, Don Stanners is board liaison, myself chair, Carl, Paul, Dave Ray, all longtime members that have been involved on many committees on the board. And then, of course, management, we have Ryan, Stephen, Eddie. The main thing that we're there for is long-range planning, figuring out, okay, where does the club need to be? When I was asked to chair the committee in 2020, just before COVID, the request was, we're coming up on the centennial. What would we like to have in place here at the club for 2025? And so we started working on that. We got sidetracked with COVID, just like everyone else. But continued to make progress. We published the club's strategic plan in 2021. That was a collaborative process of working with all of the committees, the board. There were member comment periods, multiple revisions. That is the current club strategic plan that is still out there. We intend to, I'll get to on the next year's plans. I'd like to see that we do a formal update of that plan, version of that. So if things go the way I hope they will, you can expect that we'll have a similar collaborative process, an updated strategic plan for the club. We obviously coordinate and collaborate with all committees and the board. That's a very important process of getting consensus and where should the club be going. The main thing that we accomplished in this last year, though, was the getting the membership to approve the proposal for the player development social center project. People call it various names, the Range Project, whatever. But the big project out there for maintenance and also for the new amenities as well that we plan to have. We had to coordinate the efforts of many parties, including the golf course designers, the civil engineers, different committees, getting involved, various contractors and so on, to come up with that design, and of course, working with finance on the how we were going to fund the thing. It was go to these NEB meetings where we share information with other clubs. Chip got up there and talked about the 30-year plan and the 8-year plan. One of the other presidents got up and goes, "So you got all your stuff covered for the next 30 years?" So I said, "Well, we're charging capital dues to cover that." So yes, so wow. So I do think 30-year plan is something that we talked about at Surf Cities for as long as I can remember. We now have one. We're funding it, and then we have our aspirational capital funded by the transfer dues, the transfer fees that we talked about, the initiation fees. And I feel really good about where we're headed with having money to deliver some major new amenities, not only the project that we just approved, but hopefully as well as successful. Just in terms of status on that project, we have had, after the approval, we were moved pretty quickly into getting the civil engineer that we have used with the club in the past. They had already been out doing survey work and other things over the period of time where we got to membership approval. So they hit the ground running. They're putting together the master development plan drawings. They're going to be doing the detailed drawings. They've already had a meeting with the city of Pleasant Hill staff for planning and we believe that went very well. They gave us the punch list of things that we need to have accomplished. Those are all achievable. We, knock on wood, do not have to go to a public planning commission meeting because we're not asking for anything that's requiring a zoning change at this time. We're just doing, good old stuff like a new economy building, some more footway and grass. So a little bit less controversial than what we had in 2014. We have selected preliminary selected some vendors already for the agronomic construction, the range update and the routine area and the practice green. as well for our irrigation design with the past and the training center and technology vendor. We're still working with a number of potential vendors for the metal buildings and then all the various other things, concrete, bins for the materials and so on that we'd like to put up by the first fall. I already mentioned we'd like to over 2024 come up with an update for the strategic plan. We'll continue to be involved and collaborate with other membership surveys and various initiatives for the club. We look at us, like Chip mentioned with the initiation, to best support that. And then finally, like to be able to put together a little bit of a repository on important club position papers. Whatever the topic might be. We get asked all the time, "Oh, what about our water source?" Well, there's a really good answer for that. Here's why. And we have a few others on that list as well that we'd like to do. And that's it.
Yeah, similar to the Centennial Committee, SBC is really helping us kind of collect the brain trust of information and the analysis that's been done. Because this board was reinventing the wheel about every 3, 4, 5 years because they didn't know what the previous people were doing, and there was no documentation, and there were no studies, and there were no white papers. And so things like water, we've analyzed the water. We've got a plan. We've got a way to take care of water. The soil. Oh my God, the lands around the country club, and which lands we have access to, and which ones we don't. All this stuff just needs to get documented and put into a book or, online in the cloud somewhere so that, boards 10 years from now aren't figuring this stuff out again. And I'm really excited about what they've done. And we will be preparing a motion to create a project oversight committee. It's okay. I just share that because I want you to know when it gets on the agenda next month, it's going to be completely non-controversial. Everyone's going to approve it. It's going to be very, undramatic and boring, but it's the right thing to do, and everybody knows it's coming in. And that's just how this board operates. So thank you very much, John. So with that, the presentations are complete. We're going to get into the main portion of the regular monthly board meeting. We are run by the modern rules of order, not Robert's rules of order. So the consent agenda is a relatively formal process for us to just identify that we have a general consensus to approve 4 items on your agenda. Do I have a general consensus to approve those items?
Yes.
We've got 7 directors present, and we have a general consensus. Very good. One item that does require a board action is to alter our parent-child guest policy, and I'll turn the floor over to Stephen to talk about that for just a second.
Embrace it for just a second. This is actually a move that came from Shiv as a result of learning about one of the members who has a family member who's quite ill, and they wanted to be able to have them come out to join in for some rounds of golf. And it was going to be difficult for them to be able to come at the times when we currently have them blocked out. And so we've created this policy which will allow those folks to be able to have their immediate parents and their immediate children be able to come out up to 6 times per year. Standard guest fees will apply. So not to be cold and financial about it, but the club will be benefited from it. But ultimately it's a win-win. It's going to allow some of these folks to be able to do something special when we have these people in town. So that's what this is all about. And I think everybody else is already up to speed. So can we go for a motion?
Is there a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Is there a general consensus to accept the proposal?
Yes.
Okay, it's accepted. We'll move on to items referring for discussion. Generator installation update. So I'm see this is.
Well, it usually happens because I get about half of my stuff done before it's my turn anyway. So generator installation, number 1 is in place. Number 2, the federal issue, and I think we've found a replacement for that. So again, hopefully in the next 30, 45 days, the generator for the pump station will put into play.
Steve, you had a question? No, just one motion. Just one motion. Yeah. That might be on next agenda though. It's a good question. Solar project, we got the further updates? What?
Yeah, besides what I said, so Great Place Park in, it's really nice down there. And then we're looking sometime in Q1.
Okay, how are we doing on the operating budget?
Operating budget is complete, so this group understands how we do our budget. All the department heads start with a clean slate. We go through many iterations of that budget. Then we roll it up into the big budget, and then that's where we start kind of making whatever necessary changes or assumptions to be able to get to that budget. It has gone through, our group has gone through the Troon side, was presented to the finance committee this week in their committee, and that'll be brought to the board on time for November board meeting.
November 14th. Yeah, everybody, we got our board meetings a little week early because of Thanksgiving, so we pushed it up a little bit earlier. And Amy and Dan and Richie need to be there. Or if they can't be there, they need to come see me, so please mark that down on the calendar. Is it the 16th? Is that the Thursday? 16th. November 16th. Amy's giving me a good thumbs up. Good. They start at 5 normally. This meeting was pushed to 6 because to make it more accessible for the general membership. Okay, the last topic is I'm going to turn the floor over to Secretary Tuligatos. I know what he's about to say, and I completely agree with his idea, and I think that it merits your attention.
So this topic has just been discussed with the board. It's been a topic of conversation. So really just asking Ryan for an update here on the plan. But as a junior executive member who's actively involved in social media, I see every other course in the area constantly marketing the membership. We have a very strong wait list at 32. It's incredible. I think that's better than any of those clubs, and that's probably why they're marketing. But I do think that it's important not only to our social membership, but our proprietary membership, that we have everyone in the area that might be interested in joining the club at least know that the club exists. So we're working on a plan, and Ryan, maybe give a quick update. Troon is also helping with this. So just another added benefit of having a team at Troon that specializes in marketing that we can leverage.
Yeah, so this came up a few months ago. So Karina, Noreen, Michelle from our corporate office, myself are actually creating all of that collateral right now. So we will start to see that hopefully right towards the end of the year is kind of that big marketing push as we kind of get into 24 and being a big focus. So it's a little bit more than just flipping a switch and doing it, especially in the Troon world. So there's some collateral that needs to be made, make sure it fits our brand, make sure it fits our style, make sure that it's the right word and so forth. In addition, our website is not the easiest website in the world to make changes to. So with Club Essential, everything actually goes through them to make some of these changes. So those are going on right now at the exact same time. So we're looking sometime, hopefully by the end of the year for that program to launch. And that'll be full social media and then some web SEO type marketing.
I know when we talked about getting the vote to approve the player development and social center, that there's a concern. We got a waiting list 32 now, but who's to say what's going to happen in 3 or 4 years? And I think the answer is let's worry about that and do something about it proactively now. Just don't wait until we have a problem. So I think this is a really important initiative, and I support it. And I think it's going to benefit the club in the long run in other ways. And we've got a great story. We've got all kinds of great PR stories. We're taking care of juniors. We're taking care of the water. We got an award for using water properly. I mean, there's a million great stories that we can get out there to the community. Even if they don't play golf, I don't want them driving by the club, seeing the sprinklers going off in the middle of 100 degrees and think we're wasting their water. We're not. We're using water that otherwise would end up in the bay. So we've got a really good story here, and I want to see us promote that. So thank you. All right, we don't have any member correspondence, but I do want you to know that in the president's message that's going to go out in November, I am going to remind everybody that you're responsible for damage that you cause to club property or to the neighbor's property, because we do get correspondence from neighbors, and it's not always pleasant. And anything that members can do to rectify that and address the damage promptly and get it paid for, it would make my life and Ryan's life a lot easier. It's not okay to, break a window and walk away. And if you got a guest that does that, you can't let them just walk away. You got to deal with it. Okay. So that's not the member correspondence. And with that, at 7:09, with your permission, I'll adjourn the meeting. Okay, thank you. So now we've got open questions.
Now we will go into Q&A. So I actually have one that was texted me on our current capital budget for this year. We do have years planned for out here. We're still working and sourcing those. Again, not the easiest thing in the world to get, but that is on the plan. And goal is still have those done by the end of the year. All right, any other questions? If you are online, you can go ahead and type your questions in.
Amy Rocha.
David, it looks like you have a question or your hand's up online, so if you just want to type that in, I'll go ahead.
Are you coming direct?
Have the 3 and 4Ts been rated for women, and why aren't they posted?
They have been rated. I would make the post generally.
Yeah, let's move back.
We want to move back.
Yes, those are rated, and we will make sure that those will be posted on the scorecard and they'll be in the chat system. All right, any other questions?
I've been a member since 1999. The Mill River Plan was in place then. It doesn't appear to me that it's ever been seriously questioned. As I go around and look at prices elsewhere, sometimes clubs are less, sometimes they're more. Sometimes shirts are more, sometimes shirts are less. I would like to ask that you survey the members to find out, are they happy with the Mill River Plan and really consider just doing away with it? If you're saying you need the $60,000, put it as dues, and then think about how you price products separately. Then I'm just tired of sending emails to Kevin saying, why is this club cheaper at these other clubs? Thanks.
Well, how would you send those to me too? So I'll kind of hit the Mill River Plan. So each club is a little bit different. I don't know what the club down the street does. I don't know how they do it. Our internal programs, Kevin and I have gone through that a few times since he's been on property to make sure that we're there. So, there might be $1 or $2. They might have different shit. I don't know. But yes, and trust me, Howie, every time I got your back. So. But yeah, you can, but then you're gonna pay more on shirts, throughout. But we will take that on as.
That's a good question.
The team and I will evaluate kind of what that would be on kind of an average spend. So, Eddie, you made a note of that we'll work on that one. Perfect. Thank you.
I see another hand. Can't see who it is. Is that Doug?
Yes, I just want to thank the club, Gary Brown, all the staff for everything he's done for your club, for the group. And I was brought up here, this is speaking from the point of view of high school girls golf coaches at high school. But I'm very impressed that the club is supporting both the College Park team and the Alliance team in terms of matches. It's one more kind of kudo for the field people team and the high school girls golf. Really appreciate it.
We have a lot to be proud of. I'm giving an update to NED next month about our activities with junior and youth golf. And Gary Brown and Don Wilds and Kevin helped out. And I tell you what, we got a lot of really positive things to crow about. We got a lot to be proud of, and we are giving back to the game. And that's why I mentioned the marketing program, because I really think those are PR opportunities for us to show that we're a responsible, environmentally conscious club, and we're helping young people.
That's great. So there's a question online with regards to the presentation. So the presentation and the Zoom will both be posted on the website. I think maybe that's what David's question was. All right, do we have any other questions?
I just have a comment.
Yeah, we got to close the
We don't have any other questions. I'm gonna do my best to try to embarrass Dan Worthington, Steve Watson, and Chip Doyle over the next 2 months. But unfortunately, we can start today. The leadership they provided, the insight that they gave to the board has been absolutely phenomenal. Over the last 2 years under Chip's leadership, yours also, and Dan, I guess he's in Hawaii, he's probably, here's our bringing now. It's been phenomenal. In this club, the board was not nearly as functional as it is today. And looking at our new board members coming in, we're all really super optimistic. But I think on behalf of the board, we want to say, thank you. And we're not saying goodbye because you're going to be on next year, whether you like it or not. I mean, we'll schedule around your schedule if we have to. We'll try. But anyway, and just in front of the membership folks here today, I hope you all appreciate what these 3 people have done. Because when they started, things were not great. And they're leaving us now on a board anyway, with a club that is in so much better shape, a golf course that is pristine, a balance sheet that's awesome. And that really is very special for finance people like us. So all I want to do is say thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. With that, meeting's adjourned.
Right.